Good day to you all. It's Wednesday, Parshas Devurim, the Chodesh Menachem of Tuvshim Pai Vov, July 15th, 2026. My name is Gershy Schwarcz, and I'm your host with the news of the last 24 hours on Edge. Your daily report of the news of the last 24 hours, powered by Yiddish 24, provided to you by The Click. Today is the yahrzeit of Aaron HaKohen. Yes, you can daven Oihav Shulam v'Oihav Shulam. Let's hope that this day will bring peace upon all the nations in the world and Mashiach Shekimen. When I say nations, I mean all of us. Today's news is sponsored to you by my HomeFinish and Kosher Skinny Shot, and also high-functioning water from Halo 2, with all the best benefits that a person could have for their body, and the Business Sync Workshop in Yiddish, a course happening on Chamisha Usaba'ov, July 29th. The HAMAS billionaires, the leaders of HAMAS, are suddenly demanding more cash. I guess they're running dry while Gaza suffers. United States military planners are discussing possible military action against Cuba. The US military has just bombed targets all over Iran for 7 hours straight, and another 3 or 4 hours during the afternoon today, and we'll have Iran defeated soon, says Mr. Trump. They'll be defeated very soon, says Mr. Trump, and we'll find out whether we settle it or we finish it off. An official from Israel says that the US is now getting ready for a full war in just a few weeks. At the same time, American troops are preparing to leave Iraq for good. The military plans to be completely out of the country by September 30th. But back in Washington, the war is causing a giant fight. Democrats in the Senate have blocked a $1.15 trillion military spending bill. And finally, they've passed the vote for the SAVE Act in the House again, obviously, but this time tying it into some sort of spending bill that they say will have to force the senators to vote for, which will possibly pass the SAVE Act. And finally, archaeologists found ancient items by digging through the sand of Shiloh, in the exact same place where the holy Mishkan, Mikdash, stood long ago. The full stories are coming up next. But first, the Business Sync Workshop. If you want to unlock new levels of success, you have to reframe the way you think, the way you grow and work. Join this year's Business Sync Workshop in Yiddish, starting the 7th cycle already in Fort Lee. So anyone who speaks Yiddish and is interested in joining such a course, it's going to change you as a business person. I want to change myself. I am going to attend there. That's why I'm telling you this. 718-664-6066, or visit the businesssyncworkshop.com. Sync as in synchronizing, okay? Mention on Edge, you get $500. $500 towards your course, which is amazing. Happening starting this Chamshus above. It's, I think, a 3 or a 7-part course. It's going to happen separately. The dates to be announced, obviously. But first, the first 3 are going to happen in this summer in Fort Lee. The United States military has carried out a massive 7-hour bombing campaign all across Iran. This military action restarts a naval blockade on Iranian ports and ends a peace agreement, obviously the MOU, that lasted less than a month. Over 20 Navy warships and 100 airplanes struck dozens of targets near the Strait of Hormuz. The American forces hit coastal defense and seaports in Mashhar and Chabahar. If you know what that means, some islands in Iran, obviously. The strikes also bombed sites in Bandar Abbas, in Jam-Bushehr, which is next to the nuclear plant we told you about yesterday, and the islands of Keshem and Naghom and Sirik, along with production workshop and warehouses in Ilam. All these places are very vital places where the Iranians store their weapons, produce their weapons, and mass destruction weapons. Early this morning, 13 American missiles hit the housing and rest facilities of a ground forces garrison on Bampur, located in the Sistan and Baluchistan province, if you know what that means. Iran's army reports that 7 soldiers were killed and 100 people were injured in the strike. Other sources from the base say that 10 to 15 soldiers died, and they reported seeing many arriving in ambulances. An Iranian government spokesperson said that over 30 civilians were killed in south, and the health ministry stated that more than 260 people were wounded across the country. Following the bombs, President Trump led a Situation Room meeting on Tuesday with Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and Secretary of War Pete Hegseth to discuss a possible larger plan. Yes, President Trump is giving Iran a direct ultimatum. Speaking yesterday, Trump laid out exactly what is coming next, saying, quote, "We are going to hit them very hard tonight. We're going to hit them very hard tomorrow night, and we're going to hit them very hard the night after." He warned them that unless Tehran gets their act together and gets to the table to negotiate, and the United States will knock out all their power plants and all their bridges. Trump added, quote, "You better make a deal. you're not going to have anybody left. Every time they make a deal, they break it. While he promised massive strikes in the coming nights, the president is keeping his plans for Khag Island a secret. Trump also revealed the United States is monitoring Iran's the Pickaxe Mountain, a nuclear facility buried deep inside the Pickaxe Mountain, with space cameras that can read security badges warning of an immediate attack if there is any movement there. In response, Mehdi Mohammadi, an advisor to Iran's parliament speaker, Ghalibaf, warned that the region will face total destruction if the United States touches the highly protected nuclear site. An Israeli official says the United States is now preparing for a full war within weeks, stating, quote, "There will be a war. The only question is when." In response to American strikes, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps completely closed the Strait of Hormuz. The International Maritime Organization confirmed that 6,000 seafarers are currently stranded at sea because of the closure. Iranian forces retaliated by attacking United States military bases in Qatar, Bahrain, and Jordan and Kuwait. This retaliation includes a suicide drone that hit a Kuwaiti oil storage building that was already burning. The IRGC unveiled a new line of small suicide drones claiming they were used in tonight's strike on Kuwait. The terrorist group's drone command called the weapons small but effective. They dedicated this attack to an Iraqi man named Najim Abdullah Khalid, who they claim was recently assassinated by the Kuwaiti government. Air defenses in Bahrain managed to intercept and destroy several incoming Iranian aerial attacks on Wednesday morning. The head of the United States Central Command, Admiral Brad Cooper, stated by saying that Iran also fired dozens of missiles and drones at the Gulf states this week, attacking 7 commercial ships and leaving about 10 civilian crew members killed or wounded. Inside Iran, political threats are increasing. Images from Tehran Central Square showing a coffin displaying President Trump's picture right next to a banner that reads, quote, "We will kill Trump." And Trump is obviously lying there in a coffin in a very vile way. An Iranian member of parliament and former foreign minister, Manucher Motaki, whatever his name is proposing that Iranian forces launch a direct ground assault on American base to capture 100 United States troops. Vice President J.D. Vance says the United States will not send ground troops to overthrow the Iranian government because that job belongs to the Iranian people, stating, quote, "We are not in that business anymore. We're just not." The United States is also expanding financial penalties on Iran's oil businesses. Washington froze $130 million in digital wallets linked to Iran's central bank and targeted the shipping network of oil businessman Mohammad Hossein Shamkhani. As you heard me yesterday, President Trump officially dropped his threat, right, to charge a 20% oil toll on oil ships moving through the strait. He changed the plan after meeting with the Iraqi Prime Minister and obviously the Qatari Emir, and instead, who by the way lost his father recently, and instead of a toll, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain will step in with a major new investment. Obviously, right now, the waterway is open to all ships except for Iranian vessels. Trump met with Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and Secretary of War Pete Hegseth to plan the next steps. President Trump says that the Iranian government is desperate. They want to settle so badly, he says. Sorry, that was him talking.
They want to settle so badly. They don't like what we're doing. And they do want to settle. We'll find out whether or not we settle.
He added that the United States will soon find out whether they'll settle or finish it off. He said, "We'll have Iran defeated soon. They'll be defeated very, very soon." Hamas is demanding more money and diplomatic support from Tehran. The new demand for cash came after the two sides met during last week's funeral of Khamenei. The terror group asked Iran for help rebuilding its military. They are running dry, obviously. Let's not forget who we are talking about. Reports show the top leaders of Hamas are worth a combined $11 billion with a B dollars, US dollars, living in luxury while people in Gaza obviously suffer. Let's talk about Khalid Mash'al, for an example. He is worth $4 to $5 billion living right now in Qatar. Musa Abu Marzouk, who is worth $3 billion or more, and the late Ismail Haniyeh, who was killed, obviously, reportedly worth another $4 billion. Where his money went? The current negotiator in Gaza, Khalil al-Hayya, probably to him, I don't know. His exact wealth is not reported, but he is basically holding the terror funds inside the Gazan borders. The leaders are worth a staggering $11 billion. And now, since Iran is trying to cash out from the United States. Who knows? They might come to the table, say, yeah, we want to go negotiate. Trump's going to say, great, we're going to give you money, and then again they're going to start attacking. We're having this is a vicious cycle, and I hope it all turns out to the better for everyone. But at the same time, the better for everyone, I meant the people, the normal people I'm talking about, not talking about these vicious, vile animals. Obviously, yes, I'm not taking any sides. You can decide for yourself who are the vicious, vile animals, and you'll know who I'm talking about. Anyway, why laughing at Trump? Obviously, Hamas is basically saying, ask for us too. Give us some money as well. Hamas comes to Iran with a shopping list. More cash. What an irony. While Gaza's suffering, Hamas leaders are basically asking Iran not to rebuild Gaza, but to rebuild their proxy. An Israeli soldier was sentenced to 5 years in prison. He sent unauthorized videos directly to Iran during the war back then when the missiles were flying and the Iron Dome was intercepting it. The footage showed exactly where different missiles hit. He also sent specific clips of missile interceptions. Halo 2 is the best way of intercepting any unwanted missiles. When we talk about bacteria and unwanted viruses and illnesses coming into the atmosphere. When you drink high-functioning water, your body is more protected. Right now, in Muncie, there's a very, very bad quality air because of the Canadian forest fires. So I know when I drink Halo 2 high-functioning water, my body is somewhat more balanced and protected. It's not a medicine, it's just regular water. And good water. You can find it everywhere, Halo 2 high-functioning water. Let me know what you think of it in the comments below. Subscribe, like, share it with your friends. Tell everyone about On Edge. This Tisha B'Av, by Reframe's work, we're going to launch a huge program on Tisha B'Av. Now, I know my main program On Edge is in Yiddish, exclusively on Yiddish 24. We might maybe put it on several other places, we'll see, for Tisha B'Av. Big program. Two very prominent people from Tzohar came over here from Israel, specifically to spend some time with me here. And they told me stories that shattered the hearts. I'm telling you, anyone listening to this on Tisha B'Av will not believe what's going on. I mean, there's so many programs, Baruch Hashem, everyone talks about different things, about the war, Second World War. There's a war going on right now, since October 7th, things have been happening. People don't know. We're talking about the draft problem, the protests, the Bahrain being arrested, the whole life between Israeli Jews and obviously frum Jews living in Israel. How life is there, and it's hard. I'm telling you, it's heart-wrenching. You're going to want to, if you understand Yiddish at least. The Israeli, so we spoke in Yiddish. It's a 2-hour program, so tune in on Yiddish 24. You can subscribe to my website on onedgenews.com/subscribe to get notified when it comes out. But Tisha B'Av is going to be out on Yiddish24.com, on my page, on Edge News, and as well, Kol Mevaser, 118 from the main menu. The United States military is preparing to leave Iraq by September 30th, they say. The shift was discussed today when President Trump hosted the new Prime Minister of Iraq at the White House, Zaidi. During the meeting, Trump announced that in a new partnership in the oil sector, stating that American oil companies will soon start working in Iraq on a massive scale. The Iraqi leader also visited the Pentagon to meet with Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. Hegseth confirmed the September 30th timeline to pull American troops out of the country. The Prime Minister said American soldiers are no longer needed and promised that American businesses will replace the departing military forces. To prepare for the Americans leaving, the Prime Minister announced that only the official government will be allowed to carry guns, and the armed militias are no longer needed, obviously. Secretary of War Hegseth finished with a demand stating the United States expects Iraq to permanently deal with any armed groups, ISIS, terrorist groups, or Iranian-backed groups in their territory to make sure that they disappear. The Trump administration is rewarding the United Arab Emirates for its help in the war with Iran by granting expanded access to highly restricted artificial intelligence computer chips. The UAE has spent billions to move its economy beyond oil, appointing the world's first AI minister in 2017 and opening a school dedicated to this technology. Everyday life in the capital is already run by a government app called TAM, T-A-M-M, which handles paperwork, vehicle registrations, and parking tickets. The UAE government aims to attract the best AI talent by the year 2031. United States military planners are discussing possible military action against Cuba. And one of the plans now being talked about is a massive air assault. CBS News reports that the operation would be led by the Army and could involve thousands of troops from the 101st Airborne Division. All eyes on Cuba. Okay, The Israeli Transport Ministry is limiting the number of American military tanker planes allowed to remain at Ben Gurion Airport. Officials fear that the KC planes, these refueling planes, if Iran attacks again and the airport closes, thousands of Israelis could be stranded overseas. The IDF is furious, military officials said, that national security comes before any vacations. A Jewish woman was lightly injured this morning in the Shomron after an Islamic terrorist threw stones at her car on Route 60 in Ma'ale Levona. Medical teams treated the woman at the scene before transferring her to a hospital. The attack left 3 vehicles damaged. After U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham died, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is flying to Washington this Motzei Shabbos to attend the late senator's memorial service on Tuesday. While he is in town, Benjamin Netanyahu's office is trying to set up a meeting with President Donald J. Trump. Following the senator's death, his sister, Darlene Graham, has officially been sworn into the United States Senate. My HomeFinish. You can get beautiful shades, beautiful American-made shades, blinds and curtains for a lot less than other guys without giving up any of the quality. My HomeFinish gives you completely hassle-free service run by 100% Heimish Yidden proudly. Obviously, they come down to you to give you hassle-free service because they are a massive leading brand. They can afford to be cheaper than 90% of their competitors. You get premium quality for an affordable price. They always say their customers come back for the price, stay for the service, and never need to replace them because the quality lasts forever. In other words, My HomeFinish services Monsey, Monroe, Upstate, the whole entire tri-state area with New York City included, plus a special offer for My On Edge listeners only. Mention On Edge, you get 5 to 10% discount. Call them today on 845-372-6613. Again, the number is 845-372-6613, or you can visit them at myhomefinish.com and email them at info@myhomefinish. 845-372-6613. My HomeFinish. Lebanese authorities just arrested a man they say was a major spy for Israel operating right inside Hezbollah terror group. Muhammad Ali Shumsedin, that's his name, Shumsedin, was grabbed at the Beirut airport as he tried to board a flight to Iraq. Officials say his close ties to senior Hezbollah leaders gave him access to the group's internal movements. They say he used trips between Iraq and Turkey to meet with Mossad contacts and hand over targets in Beirut. The intelligence he gave Israel is now being tied to the recent killings of several Hezbollah commanders, including 4 top security figures. The Mossad has not commented on this one as well. American mediators met with Israeli and Lebanese diplomats in Rome on Tuesday to discuss a withdrawal agreement. The talks focused on a deal regarding 2 zones in southern Lebanon that Hezbollah recently left. Israel agreed to pull out of those 2 zones so the Lebanese army can move in. But the military has not yet left. Obviously, Lebanon wants a clear schedule for the withdrawal and is asking that American military decide if the areas are clear of weapons and Hezbollah death and destruction. Israeli officials say their own military must check the areas themselves. They can't trust anyone else. An Israeli military drone strike killed 2 people in Gaza City today. That strike hit the Sheikh, the Sheikh, whatever his name is, the name of the neighborhood is, in southwest part of the city of Gaza City. Now, this brings the total number of people killed by Israeli military strikes in Gaza today to 12. The president of European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, announced the initial package of 900 million euros to help rebuild Gaza. Now, the rebuilding plan includes restoring water pipes in the area. Pipes. If you remember, back in 2021, HAMAS released a propaganda video showing Islamic terrorists, HAMAS, proudly digging up water pipes that were already paid for by the same European Union bank, and turning those pipes into, you guessed it, all these death and destruction that caused October 7th and everything else. Yep, the rockets. 4 terrorists from the Palestinian Authority were caught by security forces who thwarted a planned terror attack near Yerushalayim. The 4 men had entered the area illegally. They're trying. Officers found 1 suspect hiding in a car and preparing to carry out an immediate attack. Police also arrested an Israeli citizen who was caught transporting 2 of the men. In Syria, Syrian officials, al-Shara, spoke to President Donald J. Trump about Middle East negotiations. Al-Shara told President Trump that Israel refused to include the word withdrawal in any of the agreements and completely stopped negotiations as soon as Syria raised the issue. So, President Trump told Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu that Israel needs to move its military out of Syria. During a phone call on Thursday, Trump warned that the military presence is creating tension, telling Netanyahu they should redeploy. An American official says President Trump wants Israel to pull out of Lebanon as well. The Israeli military confirmed that no troops have moved since forces entered Syria when the Assad government fell in December. Recently, Syrian citizens have protested, demanding the military leave their country. Netanyahu's office released a statement saying he told Trump that Israel needs security zones on its borders to stop another October 7th invasion. Now, Kosher Skinny Shot is there to stop any invasion of food that does not need to enter your premises after you're done eating. 845-456-8924. The body stores fat, right? And if you eat out of control, then obviously what happens is this fat starts to store itself in the places you don't want, like the heart, like the brain, and many other dangerous places. So you need to obviously protect yourself, and the way to protect yourself is by taking Kosher Skinny Shot. If you're already on that place, you're already suffering, the best way to do this is with Kosher Skinny Shot. We had a very deep, in-depth discussion about this, and you can call them to ask. Call your doctor before you make any move, because any claim I make is based on the information they gave me, and as an advertiser, I do not take any responsibility for the markets and products that we market here on this program, because it's not my product. I'm just an advertiser, so I need to make this disclaimer very loud and clear. So again, it's because it's a medical thing. This one, you call 845-456-8924, but promising results is actually true. Two things could be true at the same time. I can tell you my obligation, which is to give you the disclaimer, but at the same time, these testimonials are very true. Reb Mordechai Cohen Beck, the Rosh Yeshiva of Tfilis Moshe Monsey, passed away suddenly this morning at the age of 80 years old. He collapsed while arriving to the yeshiva. Hatzulah volunteers worked very hard to revive him, but he passed away. He learned in the Naitre Yeshiva in Lakewood and in the Brisky Yeshiva in Yerushalayim, where he learned as a chavrisa with Harav Soloveitchik. He was the son-in-law of Reb Hirsch Meilech Kahana, a prominent Satmar Chassid, and in the year of 5751, he founded his yeshiva in Monsey, teaching generations of Bukharim. A 3-year-old boy is in serious condition after choking earlier today at the Venetian Villas bungalow colony in the Catskills. The child lost consciousness. Hatzulah treated him at the scene and transported him to Westchester Hospital. The community is asking everyone to daven for him. He should have a refuah shalom. His name for the tefillas is Shulam ben Fradel, for a complete recovery. Jewish stores in Montreal are dealing with a thief who steals directly from their cash registers. Chaverim released a picture of the man to warn the community. They say the suspect waits around the stores and intentionally keeps shopkeepers busy. While the owner is distracted, he carries out his robberies. An anti-Semitic incident in Italy has led to a hotel reservation cancellation after an Israeli tourist received an automated email endorsing a boycott against Israelis. The message from the Cumani Hotel, the Charm in Naples, stated that the business supports a local campaign called No Room for Genocide, which provides hotels with instructions on how to boycott Israelis. Yep. In Romania, the historic Mare Yecheskel Shul was vandalized with anti-Semitic symbols. The shul is located in the city of Alba Iulia and was the first stone shul built in Transylvania, dating back to the time of the Mare Yecheskel of Dej. Security cameras recorded a man drawing crosses on the outside of the building. He also drew symbols used by far-right anti-immigration groups. Police arrested a 27-year-old man shortly after the incident to face hate crime charges. A Chicago imam is facing demands for an investigation after using his Friday sermon to explicitly call for bloodshed. Imam Zaid Muhammad told his mosque, quote, "O Allah, count the Zionists one by one. Kill them to the very last one. Do not spare a single one of them." House Speaker Mike Johnson is trying to pass a new Republican spending bill in the next few days. The package includes $67 billion for defense, $20 billion for agriculture, and parts of the Save America Act, which is basically the voting bill that Trump really wants to push through. Conservative lawmakers are upset that the plan spends billions of dollars without cutting money from other places to pay for it. Other Republicans are angry because they say leadership is hiding the details from them. A major part of the argument is about funding the military action in Iran. President Trump is getting involved and helped pass the bill, to help pass this bill, meaning with Speaker Johnson at the White House now to discuss the next steps. War Secretary Pete Hegseth is holding meetings with conservative lawmakers to explain the military spending before a House vote next week. Well, obviously, the House passed today the first part of it, which is basically the SAVE Act, including this combining spending bill, which has to now go to the Senate. Germany has blocked the European Union plan to cut off trade with Israel. This move stopped a push by pro-Palestinian groups to suspend the union's official association agreement. The groups specifically wanted a trade embargo against Israeli communities in the West Bank. Germany officially opposed the move and caused the trade embargo to fail. 10 years have passed since the Tunisian migrant and Islamic terrorist, ISIS terrorist, that drove a truck into a crowd, I remember the story by the way, on France's National Day, killing 86 people. This event remains one of the deadliest terror attacks in European history. The massacre left more than 450 people wounded, including many young children. Now the younger brother of this terrorist has recently moved to France. Yep, and he says he's currently occupying a building illegally, located just 200 meters away from the original crime scene. From that location, the brother is publicly praising the attacker and making threats against people living in Nice. Just before Tisha B'Av, archaeologists made several discoveries in Shomron. The items found by sifting through sand in the exact sites where the Mishkan stood in Shiloh. The first discovery is a mikveh, dating back into the time of the second Beis HaMikdash. They also found a chiluzain. Experts believe this type of creature was used in the Beis HaMikdash to make, obviously, the ink, the dye for the tchailas, for the Kohen Gadol, and obviously for the tzitzis. The final item is an earthen bowl used by Yidden, who were careful, obviously, to eat their regular food in a state of complete ritual purity. If you understand what this means, great. A 100-year-old Yid was called up to for an aliyah to the Torah, that he actually used the exact same Sefer Torah that he actually went up to for his bar mitzvah 88 years ago in the Nazi Germany. The man is named as Kurt Marx. In September 1938, he celebrated his bar mitzvah in Adas Yeshiren Shul, which is in Cologne. Just 2 months later, Cologne, I think it's Cologne it's called. Just 2 months later, sorry, I don't remember. Anyway, the shul was burned down during Kristallnacht, and Marx escaped to England on a kinder transport together with my grandfather, my grandmother, in 1939, and many of yours probably, and never knew what happened to the Sefer Torah scroll that he read from. Recently, people discovered that the exact same type of Sefer Torah survived. It made the same journey from Germany to England, and it is now kept at the Bronsbury Park Shul in London. Marx went to that shul, put on tefillin, and was called up to the Sefer Torah using his bar mitzvah Sefer Torah. If you're noticing hazy skies today, it's obviously because smoke from the Canadian wildfires is drifting into our area. Air quality has now reached to an AQI of 142, which is considered unhealthy for sensitive groups. Anyway, so don't go outside if you don't need to, but there are no major local fires, Baruch Hashem. Let's talk about Shawarma Delight, okay? Now, Shawarma Delight, obviously, I'm not going to be providing any more marketing throughout this week because he sells meat. So it's not for today, it's not for tomorrow, it's not... But hopefully the Mashiach will come and we'll talk about him. But just remember his name after the 9 days, okay? Next is YS Capital Group. If you need to borrow some money for an investment, for real estate, 718-831-2168. And then we have Arrive Express, 845-622-1111 or 845-254-1111. And Protobytes for your software development and services and websites and all kind of things that you want to do technology-wise. Protobyte is 347-354-1237. Okay, have yourselves a wonderful day, and obviously, an easy 9 days. And Hashem Yisborach should help that it should be turned over into Yemei Simcha V'Rutzen, and Tisha B'Av should be Kudalai Moed, Yom Tov for all of us. But in the meantime, stay tuned because we are preparing some major exciting programs for Tisha B'Av, not just the one I told you about, but it will be exclusively aired on Yiddish24.com. See you there.
Your daily report of the news of the last 24 hours, powered by Yiddish 24, provided to you by The Click.